Wow. Is it nude? You tell me. Hello my loves! In today's video we are going to be talking about some of Huda Beauty's new eyeshadow launches. The new Nude Palette just launched. It comes with 18 shades of eyeshadows, 4 multi-reflective shadows with a versatile pearly to iridescent finish, 2 pressed glitters for an opulent touch, 1 pressed pearl for a velvety shine, and 1 concealer base to make your shadows pop. The very first thing that I think about when I see this palette is it really a nude palette? She defines this as her nude, so we can't really fight with that. But personally, I would call it a more cherry, berries, mauvey kind of a palette. Urban Decay has come out with the cherry palette and Christian Dominique has the berries and cream palette. This kind of falls into that kind of a theme, you know. It's got nice, beautiful pinky mauvey shades and some beautiful mauvey glitters, some gold glitters in there as well. There are a lot of lavender pink tones, nothing really brown or neutral if you ask me. But another question that arises when I saw this palette for the very first time is this really dark brown girl friendly? Usually Huda Beauty has a really deep dark crease colors, especially for a darker girl, but in this I did not see that. This is not a first impression video. I have played with this palette before, so if you'd like to see more looks I've created with this palette, please check out my Instagram, Jovita George. This palette is made in Italy and this claims to be high pigmentation and easy to blend. This is talc free and also Huda Beauty is cruelty free, which is amazing. The palette also comes with a nice large mirror with Huda Beauty written on it. As usual, the palette is made of cardboard and it has a good weight to it. It feels good, guys. And the nude right here is made of like kind of hollow lettering and the Huda Beauty is kind of raised rose gold embossed. So here we have her previous palettes. This is the Rose Gold Remastered palette right here. The shades are absolutely beautiful. One of my favorites. I've told this many times. This is the Desert Dusk palette. Once again, a really good eyeshadow palette. And here we have the new Nude palette. Instantly you can see that the shades are much lighter and more catered to the fairer girls. I'm not mad about that because a palette like the Desert Dusk I don't think was as suitable for really pale fair girls, but of course anybody can make it work. But I'm just saying, you know, everybody needs something that works for them. And when it comes to Huda Beauty, she does something innovative, something different and unique all the time. I've never seen anybody incorporate a concealer, an actual concealer into an eyeshadow palette. Now this is not meant to be used as an actual concealer, it's meant to be used as an eyeshadow base. Now this is a universal shade like she says, but hey, I kind of agree with that because you're gonna pack on eyeshadows on top anyway, so it doesn't matter if this matches your skin tone or not. Whew! Oh, and I'm not done with the information yet. This collection also comes with 3 eyeshadow brushes and this is a rude. Actually very useful eyeshadow brushes if you ask me. And then you've got a brush that has the sponge tip that we usually throw away from palettes. She's got a dual-ended brush like that. So one side is just your regular plain old sponge tip and then you've got like a rubber silicone sponge tippy thing. Big brands like Makeup Forever also has sponge tip brushes that they sell for pretty hefty price. And makeup artists actually use sponge tip and even these rubbery tips to pick up on those metallic glittery shades because they kind of have similar effect like you picking up the shadows with your finger and packing it on. Well, it depends if you want to spend the money for the sponge tip or not, that's up to you. This is $15. This is a whopping $68 or something like 20 KD or something like 2,500 Indian rupees. Okay guys, let's just get into a look now, shall we? Take that Love Bite shade, which is the darkest in the palette. That's like our only option. And there's quite a lot of kickback, you guys. You see that? Honestly, it's nothing that really bothers me. I'm gonna pop this into my crease. As you can see, it is quite pigmented. I'm also gonna pack that color onto my lower lash line. Now I'm gonna switch to the fluffier side of the same brush and I'm gonna take this shade called Spanked. Let's blend this out using that shade. So beautiful. Okay, now I'm gonna switch brushes into the Zoeva Luxe Crease brush. It's a nice big fluffy brush. And I'm gonna take this shade called Tickle, a beautiful light rosy shade. And I'm going to further diffuse the edges of this shadow. With the fluffy end of the Smoke and Smudge brush, I'm gonna take the only light shade that I can use, like an eyebrow highlight shade. It's called Bear. And this happens to be a little too light for my skin tone, but that's the only option we have on the palette. One of my concerns was having a cream product right next to all of these powder products. Wouldn't all of the powder fall into the concealer? I don't know. So far, it hasn't happened. Surprisingly enough, let's carve out my crease. I personally prefer having a liquid concealer because it's easier to maneuver on your eyelid. Cream concealer kind of tugs on your eyelid, so it's a little bit more difficult to carve out that shape, in my opinion. I could have probably had another beautiful eyeshadow in that place. Maybe a darker brown. Now I'm gonna take this shade called Kinky with this sponge tip applicator. And I'm gonna pop this on my inner and outer, wow, that is beautiful, and outer corner. I really love Huda Beauty eyeshadow formula, guys. We're gonna experiment with these fancy new exclusive to Huda shadows. Let's pick up this shade right here called Daydream. By the way, when I first saw this palette, I was most excited for these because they look like chunky glitter pressed into a pan, and I love glitter. And a lot of people were worried about that. I was like, why are you worried about glitter? How can anybody be worried about glitter? When I dipped into it, this actually melts into a insane buttery metallic shade. There's nothing crazy new about that. It just looks really different. But I mean, it still looks very pretty on the eyelid. So I'm gonna show you what this brush does. If you wanna really get into your corners and stuff, you can... I prefer my finger. Pow! Do you see that? Crazy, right? If you really wanna clean up that edge, you can use the brush to do your detail work, you know? That is so beautiful as it is, but I've never played with the glitters. I don't know if it really needs a glitter adhesive. We're gonna take the shade called Infatuated, and that is intense, pure, pressed glitter and nothing else. I'm gonna press this all over my eyelid. Oh wow. I mean, there's a little bit of fallout, but it's for the most part sticking onto my eyes. Wow. Wow. Is it nude? You tell me, is it nude? There's quite a lot of glitter fallout underneath. I want to do some inner corner highlighting, so the only option we have, the shade called Crave right here, which is another one of her unique shadows. Let's pop that right here. And here we have the finished look. All of my under eye area is full of the glitter fallout. I really wish I had applied a little bit of loose powder underneath. And just in case you're wondering what's on my lips, I've got the Huda Beauty Demi Mattes in the shade Boss and Bonnie. I mixed them up and I got this shade right here. It matches my top perfectly, don't you think? How many of you can recognize where this top is from? Let me know in the comments. Now, there is one last test that I wanted to do. This eyeshadow that is unique, I want to know how different that really is. So we've got the shades Fantasy and Crave. That's what it looks like on my hand. Not chunky, it's not glittery, it's just like this beautiful mesh of pearly metallic eyeshadow. Now, I'm gonna take the Huda Beauty Desert Dusk. Maybe I'll try the shades Nefertiti and Angelic. They don't feel similar at all actually. These feel a little bit more gritty, not as buttery and soft. But let's put it right here and see if the effects are kind of same. Not really. Alright, but the Remastered palette has really intense creamy metallic shades. Shall we compare a couple of these? Let's compare Rose Gold and Pink Diamond. Oh, these feel so creamy. Can you see that? I have a feeling these are going to be very similar to these new shadows. By the way, I'm not looking at the color, I'm looking at the texture. It kinda looks very similar if you ask me. There is still a little bit more multi-dimension in the new formula. I also have the Vina palette and the metallics in here are quite creamy as well. So let's take this shade Rose Gold. Oh, butter. And let's take Dreamer. Looks different in my fingers actually. It doesn't have the same wet shine. It has more of a cream dry shine. Once again, these are the new nude shades. These are the Vina shades. I mean, they are intense, but not quite similar. What do you think, guys? Do you still want to talk about the Obsessions palette? Let's quickly do this, right? So the mini Obsessions palettes come with 5 different color schemes. I will include close-up swatches here right now. Each pan comes with 9 eyeshadows and a nice mirror in there. They don't have any names in the palette, which I really don't care about, so it's all good. They've condensed the palette to make it travel sized. The pan sizes on these are exactly the same as the pan sizes of her larger eyeshadow palettes, and the mattes in these are slightly more skippy than the mattes in her other eyeshadow palettes, but they're still beautiful and still really blendable and workable on the eyes with a brush. The shimmers and metallics in each palette is exactly the same as the ones in her regular palettes. They're beautiful, and the diamond right here has all the colors of the eyeshadows that corresponds to the shades inside. I personally love them, especially for travel, especially to create intense, colorful eyeshadow looks. If you are a lover of blue eyeshadow, you can simply buy the Sapphire Obsessions. If you like green, you can buy the green, or you can buy the entire set and keep it with you for colorful occasions. These are $36 per palette. That's about 11 KD, which I think is a really good price for 9 eyeshadows, which comes in a nice compact travel size with a mirror. If you'd like to see looks that I've created with these, please follow me on my Instagram, because I think I've created looks with pretty much all of these. Alright guys, so that's pretty much everything that I wanted to talk about in this video. Let me know if you've tried the nude palette, if you will really actually call it nude. Do you think it works for us darker brown girls? But this is also a really good companion palette for other colorful palettes like these. I'm dying to know what you think. Anyways guys, I'm gonna see you in my next video, and until then, I love you. All the videos right down below. Mwah!